we have the lowest percentage of adult males working now than we've had since we've been keeping good data on this. It's declined for 40 years, more than 40 years.
I see a lot of kids that I went to high school with who are 25 and they have kids and they're still making minimum wage. There's no way that I want to do that. I don't want to struggle my whole life.
Growing up, I would go downtown, areas where money was. Like, wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it be nice, wouldn't it be nice? My friends were like, you have to understand, that's not for us.
I had used the last bit of my unemployment. I didn't have no income. I couldn't get food stamps. I didn't know how the hell I was going to feed my family.
You play the trombone, bass, and piano?
Oh, a propósito, ya te dieron tu...
My father and my mother actually met here. My dad came here at like 10 years old, and my mom came here at 17.
Oh, and the guitar.
4 instruments, and I only play the piano.
Okay, igual ya te pasé.
My mom, if she puts her mind to it, she'll do it, whether or not she has the resources to do it. So I learned to have that attitude from her. They were street vendors, that's how they made do. I spent some time doing that as well, when I was younger, trying to help out. In my family, there's 4 of us. I'm like the second father figure to my other siblings.
Jonathan tiene un papel muy importante para mí y para sus hermanos porque como es hijo mayor, es el ejemplo de todos. Decían, no, ¿por qué? Porque Jonathan no va a la escuela y yo sí. Sé que pasó una etapa difícil, entonces dije no, solo es una etapa que va a pasar y él va a seguir.
I was a child that fell through the cracks. Some instructors, they believed in me, they believed I had potential, but I had a full-time job and I was going to school. My attendance was about to get me expelled, so I managed to end up at night school. People often told me, "You're smart, what are you doing here?" Even my parents told me that all the time, like, "You're smart, what are you doing here?" I was being complacent, I guess. I had to be better to an extent.
I'm New York born and raised. My little brother was born when I was 4, and we moved with his father. Unfortunately, got involved in some domestic violence. We wound up moving from borough to borough. When I was 6, I went to our first Tier 1 shelter, which was in the Lower East Side. They used to call it Skull Castle. I studied graphic design as an undergraduate. Right after my first semester, I got a phone call and Destiny's like, "I'm pregnant." We always wanted kids, but we didn't plan for right now, but there was no way I was gonna back down from that. It was either support my family or chase my education, and I chose to support my family, and I don't regret it at all. I dropped out to do security. I worked for 725. I got bumped up to 1125, and that's where I remained until I started Perscolas.
We have to have this idea that we're going to link training to jobs that are available in the local economy and that pay well. There are places all over the country that are doing that. Programs like Perscolas.
Every day, I get to meet incredibly talented people from communities that are often overlooked. People that are looking for a better life, but often what doesn't exist in those communities is a chance. So in many ways, Perscolas provides that chance by giving these folks effective IT training. We're trying to be very specific. We're talking to employers and saying, tell me what you need. What are the skills that are required for these jobs that you're saying are going unfilled? And let's build a program so that I can train people from my community to fill those jobs.
We help students realize your life can change and like that. They have the passion, they seek us out, and we give them the knowledge for them to go out and get that job.
I graduated in night school. They actually introduced me to Perscolas. They have a rigorous interview process, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this course.
IT allows a leveling of the playing field. Individuals don't have to have a 4-year degree. What they do need are relevant skills.
Cycle 14, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. So this is the command that we're going to use. Copy, space, /B.
Traditionally, we've had our focus in getting young people a high school diploma, graduate from high school, and we've done our job. We're finding that most of the jobs in the future now require some education and training past the high school level. Not necessarily a 4-year bachelor's degree, but some education and skills training. Without that, you're pretty much locked out of about 2/3 of the jobs and have access to only jobs that pay around the minimum wage without much upward mobility.
We also have had education, I think, be very slow to change and move in the direction of where the new jobs are and what the new skills are that are needed.
The ray of sunlight here is that businesses are willing to do a lot of it themselves, because if they can have more highly skilled employees, it has a big impact on their bottom line.
My official title is Manufacturing Engineering Technician. Today we got a collaborative motion robot that we're setting up. So I get to program the robot for things that we have on the assembly line. Both of my parents were in the Marine Corps. They were never together at the same time, so my dad would come home from working like a 12-hour shift, and instead of getting a babysitter to watch us so he could sleep, he's just like, okay, let's watch cartoons. So me and my dad have always been really close. My sister's like really girly, and I always like to hunt and fish and work on cars and stuff like that. Growing up, my mom always said, you have to go to college. No matter what you go to college for, you have to go to college for something.
I just want my kids to be happy with what they're doing. We want them to be able to do and have and experience things that we didn't get to do. I didn't go to college until I was 42.
I see people get out of high school and go straight into fast food or waitressing. It's really hard to find a job now if you don't have any on-the-job training, and it's hard to get on-the-job training because no one wants to hire you because you don't have any experience. So I started going to Trident for industrial maintenance technologies. A lot of the kids that I went to school with were like, you're going to a tech school instead of a 4-year college. That's weird.
There is a cultural mindset sometimes that if you don't go get a 4-year degree, you're a failure, and that's just wrong. We need doctors and lawyers, but we also need welders, machinists, programmers. There are plenty of occupations right here in Charleston where you can make 6 figures without that 4-year degree.
So we got them all to the table and started talking about how we could put this together so that high school students would be able to come to the college, enroll in college classes, be hired by companies who would mentor them on the job, and actually earn a wage while they were learning in the coursework.
I was in high school, so I went to high school in the morning, and then in the afternoon I headed to the college. Me too. I was there until 6:45.
Okay, so let's do the vacutainer.
My school did academies, so we had like a nursing academy, a fire academy, a police academy. All of our classes were geared towards what we wanted to do.
Put your hand on that knob right there. That's the control valve.
I was in mechatronics. Mechatronics is kind of like mechanical, electrical, robotics, like all combined. So when I was in math class, they taught us, okay, well this is standard deviation, but this is how you're gonna use it.
Shannon's mechatronics teacher recognized her potential.
He called my mom and was like, are you ready for me to change your daughter's life?
The apprenticeship program is a way to encourage young generation to get interested in manufacturing and to learn a skill that they can then develop and grow into a career.
We all need skills in our jobs. Students earn money while they're learning their jobs. They become masters at their jobs, and they have a path forward to get certificates, diplomas, and sometimes baccalaureate degrees.
I would go to Cummins for 4 hours a day and pretty much just do on-the-job training and shadow people. I graduated my apprenticeship in April of 2016. I got offered a position full-time, so I'm no longer an apprentice.
Most of my technical background comes from personal practice on my own devices. But for scholars, they have partnerships with like these renowned companies, and they actually show you how to behave in a corporate environment.
This morning, we're going to prepare for our Barclays mock interview. I'm going to ask all of you, we do this as a routine, everybody stand up. Do your handshakes this morning. Take it seriously. 2 pumps, good. Again. Good, good morning. Good, good, good.
I'm actually a big supporter of this kind of activity. We learn a lot of particular skills for our work, but actually in that interview and the confidence that you need to be able to be successful is something you don't always get the opportunity to practice. And that's exactly what I think you're here to do today, so that you can be successful at whatever it is that you often do.
My whole entire family shared a PC, and if someone damaged it, either I had to fix it or we had no computer. So I learned Linux, Unix, Windows System Manager.
I have your evaluation from the mock interview. Did they say anything in regards to your resume?
I've gotten feedback where it's like, all right, make it fit in one page.
We're going to go over this. A couple of things. For example, technical skills. You have under technical skills, retail experience as stock manager.
Okay, when are you graduating?
October 20th.
Okay. So 1 more month.
Not having like an income, yeah, it's really stressing.
If you apply yourself, it's there for you. And you know what I respect the most is that you're willing to make that immediate sacrifice now for the bigger picture. I'm gonna be so excited when we graduate. I'm gonna be crying. I know it. I cry at every graduation like a baby.
The graduation is taking place all the way at the back of the hall. Just keep walking straight down to the vehicle.
Oh, that's actually John. When I was at graduation, my mom got dressed up, I got dressed up. We were both looking really nice. This is my mom.
Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I went in and I looked around, and then it kind of started sinking in, like the giddiness of like, oh, like I'm actually here. My mom was just kind of like, you passed, see, I told you, see? I was really proud.
We would like to welcome all of you to the graduation of Cycle 14, 2017.
Sitting next to my fellow students, it felt good just because we actually made a promise that we were going to graduate as a collective, and we kept our promise. So, it was pretty cool.
Mr. Jonathan Silva.
I feel good, I feel happy, I feel accomplished.
These programs are a big part of the solution to what I think is our biggest social problem, which is making equal opportunity, that kids from the bottom can move up.
Dear Taheem, we are pleased to offer you the position of network engineer at an hourly rate of $28, which equates to $55,000 on an annual basis. I went from $725 to $1125 to $55K a year and unlimited overtime.
I'm willing to take very basic entry-level positions just because I feel like I can perform. Right now I'm trying to pry the door open, trying to find like a fire escape for a window.
I've got 6 years of college, 2 bachelor's, and an associate's degree, and my daughter makes more money than I do.
I'm 20 and I'm sitting in my own house, so it's pretty great.
The opportunity that she had to go through Cummins with their apprenticeship has allowed her to go back to school and have her job pay for it to get her engineering degree. She does a great job. I'm proud of you, baby.
I see Perscolis as an entrance to a world not previously available to me. I see it as a second chance.
Part of the outgrowth of evidence-based policy initiatives over the past 10 years is really trying to build the evidence about what works. By building that evidence through rigorous evaluations, we now know that there are some strategies that work better than others.
We have to do high-quality random assignment experiments of social intervention programs to find out what works and what doesn't.
Our emphasis in the Education Workforce Committee has been, what are the results? show me the results. If we can do that, then we can justify the spending.
The people that graduate from that program are more likely to be employed, and they make higher wages. What more can you want? If we really want to have a national impact, we have to have thousands of those programs. They should be growing faster.
This is something our country desperately needs across the entire nation. We started it with 6 companies and 1 occupational pathway in manufacturing. We now have 122 companies. In order to continue to scale this, we have to have a sustainable funding source.
I pay attention to what works and what doesn't work. Apprenticeships, industry-based programs, those ideas are ones whose time has come.
I think it's important that we use evidence and research to make policy. And in a lot of areas, we take poll-tested sound bites and make policy and think we did something. There's a lot of research that needs to be done to make sure that in the jobs area, that we get the best bang for our buck.
In a deficit situation, it is sometimes very easy to cut the research first. That would be short-sighted, because in order to know what really works, we need to continue to build the evidence and continue to invest in evaluations over time. We don't just want to fund things that are already proven, because then we won't have any more innovation.
If I could talk to the politicians, I would tell them that this is money that is not wasted.
Invest in education. Invest in the future. When you invest in these students, you invest in all of us.